A warm welcome to you, Florian and Alex. Thank you very much for your time and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having us. And yeah,
thanks
we're
for
happy
the
to be here.
invitation.
Maybe we can set the stage a little bit for our listeners, and let's maybe start with something most people can relate with, which is the love for great music and music artists. Alex, you told me before our conversation that you're a DJ yourself. So I wanted to maybe start with you and ask you what else connects you with music?
Well, for me, I always say no music, no life. You know, it's so important. And I think a lot of people can relate. And yeah, I grew up with music. I grew up in a Greek household. So it was, when I was very little, it was basically, you know, Greek music and Greek parties and stuff like that. And then I got into DJing. A lot of friends from the hip hop scene, and they needed someone to play music, and so they can, you know, learn to break dance. And so that's how it started for me. And I went through so many genres, even as a DJ, from hip hop to funk to soul to jazz to electronic music, world music. And in every little element, I find something that I love, you know, when it comes to hip hop or when it comes to jazz or electronic music. So it just sets the mood for me, you know, depending on if I need like a kick, I know what type of music to play. If I want to calm down after a tough day, I know what to play. So music means everything to me. And I also I threw a lot of events back here in Lucerne. And yeah, I'm very connected to the music scene here locally and a little further around in Switzerland. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. What about you, Florian?
Yes, there is nothing to add. No music, no life. Definitely something I would sign as well. I'm kind of not as into music as Alex here, but I also was a DJ during my first studies just to have another income stream. But I really relate to music as it is something which is connecting us with our emotions. And I think it's a little bit sad that music became this commodity. Everybody is just listening on the side with Spotify, just let it run the whole day. And most people are not thinking twice what they are listening to. And I think this is a little bit sad because music is so much more. It connects people, it connects countries, it connects even the whole world. And I think this is the beauty about music. It's just a common language.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's something so all-encompassing. So I thought it'd be nice to start off with that. And a while back, you, Florian, co-founded NEWM. Alex, you joined them with the ambition to bring more value to both listeners and the artists themselves as a startup, scale up, probably fair to say, in the Web3 space. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on the characteristics of NEWM, what sets you apart, maybe also from other services out there?
Oh yeah, let me start here, Alex, and you please fill in the gaps if I miss something. I think what is very unique for NEWM is that we are wanted to create a very easy way for musicians to enter the Web 3.0 space and also connect in a different way with their fans and audience and generate more reach out of it. Though in the end, we have created a one-stop shop for them where they can not only upload music and distribute the music to all the Web 2.0 streaming platforms out there so that people can listen to it, but also mint it, fractionalize it, and then sells these stream tokens to their fans. And now we have to talk a little bit about stream tokens and what is a stream token. So in the end, we give the artist the possibility to fractionalize the future streaming royalty income into small tokens, and then sells these tokens to the fan. And of course, everybody is asking, why should they do it? Yeah, with this, we create a monetary side effect for the fans. So whenever the fans then listened to the song he bought tokens from, he gets paid, because this is what the normal way in the music industry is anyway, that the musician gets paid whenever his music gets listened to. And with this, suddenly the fan is part of this whole band, kind of, because he owns part of the music, which incentivizes him to listen to their own music, and incentivize them to do marketing for the musician and talk about the new musician, try to help them to become big, try to have more listener, or even listen to his own stuff, kind of, and get money back. So kind of listen to earn what we have invented.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. Very well explained. Yeah.
That's super cool. So maybe to rephrase it a little bit, it's also closing the gap that tends to exist between listeners, like you said in the beginning, people just consume it almost mindlessly, towards the artists who are the creators of a piece of music. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, definitely. This is the one part, and the other part here is, now we have to dive into the music industry and how it's set up a little bit. That there are these gatekeepers called labels. They decide what kind of music is interesting for the masses out there. And we believe there should be another way, because the listener should decide what they want to listen to, not some third party in between. And I think this is the other thing why we started all these things, because the current system has too much friction, and it's just unfair sometimes. Because of course, labels, they have their own ideas. They are following their own sentiment of what is a good music and what should we produce and what is the best for the masses. And I think with our system, suddenly the fans, the end consumer, is deciding what is good, because they can support the artist more directly as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really fascinating. And also how you explained that there is a financial benefit or side effect, almost an incentive to support your artists, to listen to them more, to maybe recommend them to others. And earlier, like before we started this recording, you were saying how important it is also to bring trust to a community, to this Web3 space when it comes to the listeners. And it's almost even more important than in Web 2, for instance, through branding. And I believe that what you do at NEWM is so revolutionary in the sense that you're paving the way for the next generation of music artists. So can you maybe go a bit more into that? Like, why is it so important to build this trust in Web3? And how do you make sure of that you build a trustworthy brand with NEWM so that artists say, I'll go with them?
This is the perfect question for Alex, because he is in charge of marketing and branding. So I think he should answer this one.
Yeah, well, branding is obviously with our CPO Tiziana, but we work very closely together because branding has an impact on marketing, and marketing has an impact on the brand. And trust is important everywhere, also in Web 2. Trust is important in a relationship, and that's what we are building. We're building relationships. We want to build a true community. From day one, I felt it was a highly engaged community. I've built maybe 10 or 12 communities in the last 20 years. And the numbers that I saw early on, the data and the engagement rates were wild. So I think to build trust, you have to engage, you must get involved, you have to answer their questions. You can't just sell, you know. All we had in the beginning was a vision and not a product. So we were building in public and we want to take the community for the ride. And in Web3, it might be a lot more important, trust, because you have a lot of scams happening. You have a lot of anonymous users. It's kind of difficult sometimes to really find out, is this project for real? I can't find a team. I can't find team pictures, you know, I can't find their names. So for us, we decided to dox ourselves. You know, we're gonna have our real profile pictures on our Twitter profiles. We have our real pictures on the team site. We have LinkedIn connected. We all have the same branding in our profile pictures. So it's you know, like when the NEWM squad is in a Twitter space or on Twitter, you know, you kind of recognize it. Mm-hmm. This is NEWM. And yeah, I feel like we've done a really good job of being highly engaged with the community, answering questions on multiple channels. We have 3 Telegram groups now. We have a Discord. We're building out other channels. So yeah, I think in Web3, you have to really show who you are, be transparent also when it comes to the information you're giving them. You can't just promise something. Like our co-CEO and co-founder Ryan Jones says, you know, under promise and over deliver, and that works very well for us.
And just to add to this, I think Tiziana and Alex here made a really good job, because what we are in Web 3.0 normally, as we discussed before we started the recording, that there are a lot of developers, highly technical people in the space, and they know what to do. But music is not only for highly technical people. So we have to ensure that what we are building will be not only a Web 3.0 highly technical product like DeFi sometimes is, that it's important for us that we are serving it to the masses, because everyone wants to listen to music and everyone should be able to then support these artists through our platform. And I think this is our goal. And so far, so good with our CPO, Tiziana, and because she is covering also the product, what she achieved so far looks very, very promising. And although on the marketing side from Alex, did a very good job, not only marketed right now to a very specific niche, but also already broaden up the conversation about what we are doing for other people out there. And I think this is key.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after all, Web3 is also a new space to many, like maybe something where they're not sure how to access it, what to expect from it, right? So if you kind of lower these entry barriers for both the listeners and the artists, you provide so much value with that alone. And you said something really beautiful, Alex, when you said we started with the vision, not with the product. And I was wondering, you know, very briefly, what were kind of the most important milestones for you to say, okay, we are on the right track, we're getting closer to that vision we want to achieve?
Well, when it comes to the vision, and I think Flo can elaborate a little more, you know, the vision is the future of music is digital and it's on NEWM. You know, that's like some call it the North Star, I don't know. This is the vision, you know, like some years out. And that vision contains multiple elements. And I think that's a good one for Flo to take.
And yeah, definitely. Let's, because if we are bringing out and saying a bold statement that the music is digital, it's already digital. We know this. But what does it mean it's on NEWM? Because what we have created so far is a non-profit organization on top of everything. Though our protocol will serve, or this foundation will serve this protocol to help it to develop it. And we went the way to go with a non-profit because all of us, we don't want to make money out of it. We want to make a living, of course. This is why we also need some funding to develop everything. But we are not here to become billionaires and then just for people who started it doing well. No, it's about the community. And this is why we have a non-profit organization and created also our own token, which is a utility token, and which will govern this non-profit organization, because this is its on NEWM part. This is its on NEWM part, because we believe that to give musicians a really good opportunity to opt out of the current old system where labels, they're giving you the promise, you get more reach, you will be famous. We give them the opportunity to opt out and to come to our protocol where it's owned by musicians and fans and governed by them, and we are just creating it for them. And this is the vision, that then the music world has a different way to do it. And I don't believe, to be honest, that 100% will be on NEWM. But if we reach 50% of the current system and put it over there, we already have achieved, because then there is a true opt-out option for the musicians to give it to go a different way and not go the old traditional way through a label. And I think this is the very important part. And this includes also all our employees as well. I don't say employees. Normally, we are always talking about collaborators who are helping us to build this, because it's so big, we can't do it alone. Definitely not. And this is what we realized early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, it's this very inclusive approach. You know, this notion that also comes across when I looked at your website, for example. And I think it's a really good point in the conversation to get a bit into these nitty-gritty parts of NEWM. You mentioned it, Florian. There are protocols, there are tokens. I can imagine many listeners are also skeptical when they hear the word blockchain. From a sustainability perspective, it's always criticized that the technology consumes a lot of energy, it is using specialized hardware and so on and so forth, which many see as environmentally harmful. However, and I would like you to elaborate a bit on that, you're using a blockchain called Cardano, which differs from it, the usual proof of work in a blockchain. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that, and especially what distinguishes it, especially when it comes to sustainability aspects?
Oh yeah, I think these are two questions. Shall I start to compare it and give some numbers? I think this is always very exciting.
Sure.
Because also proof of work is, especially with Bitcoin, is very interesting, because everybody is telling, and in the news we have all these information that it consumes a lot of energy. It does. It does. So the numbers I have from 2021 is around 60 to 125 terawatt hours per year. So this is Bitcoin mining and how much energy. And this is a lot. This is a lot. But if you then think about the whole banking industry, how much they consume, and the numbers I have from the banking industry, I have to look them up very briefly to talk that it's around 113 terawatt hours. So it's, if you think about, and if you compare it, it's around kind of the same amount, but you have it decentralized. So you don't have the facilities, you don't have the people who are doing commute time all the time, because you replace their work with a bunch of code. And this is for proof of work only. And proof of stake is even more sustainable, because it's a different algorithm, and it's using a different kind of technology to produce the kind of the same outcome. Do not go too deep into the technology to produce the kind of the same outcome, because it's not as safe as proof of work from a security aspect, but it's doing the job. And there you're suddenly talking about 1,000 times less energy consumption, which means, yeah, with this Cardano technology we are using as underlying tech, it makes sense to replace the old system with code. So I think a lot of people don't realize that our whole world is consuming a lot of energy. It doesn't matter what we are doing. And I think code can help a lot, especially in these times we are in. Then I think the most problem we might facing is that, yeah, what does all the bankers do if they're replaced by code? I think they will find another job, hopefully something better than just investing.
Do you have anything to add, Alex, to this question around blockchain and sustainability?
No, I think there's another question coming up, right? When it comes to what can Web3 projects do to support sustainability. Yes. And for us, we're a remote team. We don't need huge offices with a lot of power consumption. And we don't need to sit in a car and drive to work or whatever. We support other climate projects. We will be part of a project coming up now this winter with climate neutral Cardano. It's a reforesting project, and we will take part in it and donate tokens that can be spread to the community and then generate funds for that project. Also, Web3, like Flo already mentioned about banking, Web3 is in its core is already more energy efficient than big centralized systems in Web2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a really important point. I think a lot of people might not be aware of that, right? I want to go back to something you said, Florian, about how you build a non-profit on top of the initiatives you already have. And I believe it was you, Alex, who told me in our chat when we met in person that NEWM has the ambition to become a DAO, a DAO. Can you maybe explain to the listeners what that is? Why is it important to you? And yeah, kind of where's the path leading you for the future with that?
Yeah, Flo is definitely the master of the DAO. I think he can explain this very well The DAO is our fifth tenet. You know, we have 5 tenets. The DAO comes then at the end, and I think Flo can go deeper into that.
Yeah, thanks for calling me the master of the DAO. I think a DAO in general has no master anymore. So this is the
That's
idea.
true.
Though, and Alex mentioned that it's the fifth. Yeah, we know that in the beginning, to be fast, it has to be a little bit more centralized. And this is what we are doing right now, to be fast, to develop, having short decision path for a decision is very important. Though this is why we have this small team. This is why we are doing it how we are doing it right now. But in the end, as I mentioned before, we want to give it to the musicians and the fans. We don't want that legacy music industry is in our project, bought in somehow, and tries to dictate everything, what was happening with Spotify in the early days, for example. And I think this is very important. This is how we set it up. And as I mentioned, the end goal here is really to have this ecosystem, which is governed by the fans, by the musicians, to have this opt-out option. And a DAO is just a decentralized autonomous organization. So all the tokens holders of our token then will be able to vote on certain things. For example, we already started to building out a musician support fund. And there we have to thank Nido. He's one of the musicians who made it happen that we can launch our proof of concept. And he donated a part of their stream tokens to the foundation. And all the income which comes then through the stream token in terms of royalties to the foundation, we will give it directly into the musician support fund. And then all our token holders can vote on which musician should be supported. So also kind of this music support idea that the crowd decides what they want to listen to. What is the next musician we want to have on our platform, for example? And there are more ways to vote on certain things to make it more what's the word in English?
Democratic?
Democratic. Thank you so much, to make it more democratic. This is the idea. And this is the DAO. Certain tech might be not as decentralized as we would love to have it. For the beginning, we also thinking about creating our own streaming platform because the ecosystem needs a streaming platform. Otherwise, we always have to rely on other streaming platforms. So with this in mind, we will, in the first phase, we will have it centralized because it's just more convenient and has less latency and all these kind of things. Because as a consumer product, it has to work. And this is the first key. But when we have built everything, we believe that the mother company, where all the companies are underneath it, should be decentralized, and everybody who holds our token can vote on certain things, can vote on more features to implement it, because this is what we are believing as a company and as single persons.
Yeah, and it's a very beautiful thought, and also what you do with the foundation to support artists and to give this voting power to the listeners and the artists. I think again, it's very revolutionary.
But it has a downside. In the beginning, it's slow, and if you want to create in slow in terms of development and find solutions for things, because you need a majority. So in the beginning, we have to be what we are right now, more decentralized, building it. But when we are big enough, we have the size of a corporation anyway, and a corporation is always slow anyway. So it doesn't matter if the process of finding the majority for certain things to decide on which feature should be implemented is slow then. And though I think in the future it's the way to go, definitely.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. And so I'm wondering, you know, on a broader scheme of things, where do you stand right now, and what are the immediate next steps for NEWM?
Alex, do you want?
Yeah, I can take that. Well, we're still building out, you know, our foundation on multiple levels, like from operations to HR to product to marketing. We're hiring people, we're onboarding people, partnerships. But when it comes more to the vision, what we just have launched a couple of weeks ago is our first stream token sale. That's a sample sale for us. That is part of our MVP, our minimum viable product, to show proof of concept. We started with Murs, a hip hop legend from, you know, the independent hip hop scene, and Nido, who is more a Web3 connected musician. And so those, the Murs sale is still ongoing. The Nido sale we just ended, and like Flo mentioned before, Nido decided to donate some stream tokens to our NEWM Foundation, and the other stream tokens he sent to the people who had already bought stream tokens from him. So they got a little surprise with some extra ownership, you know, for future streaming royalties. So that's where we are right now. The next steps will be to keep improving that process and have more launches with other music creators too.
Oh yeah, I think just a small caveat to it, give you a little bit more what we have achieved so far, because I think some people out there don't realize that we started almost one and a half years ago. We are totally community funded. So we have created 2 stake pools where you can delegate your ADA with us. We get the rewards, or part of the rewards, out of the stake pool, and you get as a reward from us NEWM tokens, and this funds the whole operation. We have done a small funding round with a smaller business angel. But besides this, we grew to this, I would say, not massive institution or company, but we are already around 35 people now who are contributing their time to our project. And some of them part-time, some of them full-time, which is very, very interesting that we have this workforce who are building it. So it's happening. And this is how we came to, and we were able to achieve the goal of showing the proof of concept. And now the idea is to automate everything. As I mentioned before, it's now the time to create this platform where you just upload your music, where you fraction your music, and then everything in the background is just happening. We have shown it that we can do it from a technology side, that it's possible, and also fans are interested in it. And I think the next step is really automation and growth, because right now we launched in this very Web3 space where you need a non-custodial wallet, and you connect your wallet with our page, and then you can buy it. So you need a lot of deep knowledge of, let's say, cryptocurrencies, to understand how do I get ADA. It's kind of an entry barrier right now. And the goal is definitely to have a mass market product where you can buy with a credit card, where you can be part of it. And also to give a small, a little bit of hints of the future, what is coming is, one part is this onboarding platform for the musician, fully optimized, backend optimized, but also the marketplace where you can then really go there like on eBay and search around and buy music from different artists. And we have lined up around 1,000 musicians who are on the waiting list to participate in these kind of things and to want to put at least one song on our platform. But we are also talking with labels, because they are still existing, because they realize this is a very interesting part for them, how the musicians they have onboarded already can interact with fans. And after this, we have to build out the process of the interaction process between fans and musicians and vice versa even more, because the beauty of having a stream token in your wallet means the artist knows who his fans are, you know, at least from a wallet perspective. So they can drop discount codes for merch, they can drop special gifts to them. They can also make invite-only events where they say, okay, if you have a certain amount of tokens, you get a ticket for a concert, you get a backstage pass or whatever. There is this new way where you have this direct connection with the people, and their Web 3.0 is great without knowing who is the people behind it, you know? So privacy topics are secured, but at least you can interact with them directly. And this is what is already on our roadmap, and it's coming. But first things first, we are a startup still. We have to focus, and automation is the first step towards this.
Yeah, and I think it's really a great example how the virtual world can kind of mix with the analog world, with our real world, if you like. When you say all these tokens, they can trickle down to have exclusive access to a concert, for example. So, and I'm sure you will get there. I'm sure with all the effort you put in and this collaborators that you gathered around you, you will get there. I'm 100% sure. I'm wondering also, you know, what you said, how powerful a community is, not just with the musicians, with the listeners, but also attracting the collaborators. You were saying that you were hiring as well. Let's say I'm someone intrigued by what you're doing, or I'm just a music lover, or even a music artist, which I'm not, but I'm sure there are many out there who really want to now be part of this. How can they best follow your journey? What would be a great way to connect with you?
Well, we have multiple channels. I think Twitter is our strongest channel for now. I think Twitter is like a must in Web3. So basically follow us on Twitter, join our Discord. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can sign up for the artist newsletter, where we send out information about the milestones and when the artist portal will be ready for a test phase first. So we'll need music creators who are willing to sign up and start testing with us, give us feedback, and then we can we can go into a build, measure, learn loop to improve the artist portal. So yeah, sign up as an artist on our site. Telegram, we have 3 Telegram groups. If you want to learn more about Web3, the music industry, you can check out our own digital magazine. We have multiple articles that are basically educational pieces. So if you want to learn more about not NEWM necessary, but about music, Web3, music industry, you'll find some good articles on our magazine.
Yeah,
Great
and
stuff.
I think definitely worth is also LinkedIn, because there we have sometimes also job posts open, because we're still looking for great people, or just reach out to our moderators on Discord if you want to help. We're always looking for exceptional people who want to build. And yeah, I think staying in the loop with Twitter is definitely worth it, because we have lined up already some other artists, though there are more drops are coming. And yeah, I think it's the best way to stay in touch with us.
Awesome. I think I will gather these links and I will share them in the show notes. So if people are listening to the podcast, you can always go down to the show notes and you will find the direct links to all these different channels. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Florian. Thank you, Alex, for your time and for giving us some insight into the future of digital music and what can happen next in this space.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.